Millions of years ago, the planet was drastically different than it is today. Not only were there different life forms, but the shape and the geography of the planet itself has undergone massive changes. There are several different forces driving this change, but the one in particular that most people learn about was the theory of continental drift. It explains that continents are sort of like pieces of a puzzle that slowly move several inches per year. But there happens to be another theory that happens much more quickly. It's known as rapid crust displacement theory. And what it describes is the outer shell of the planet Earth suddenly breaking away from the core, causing the continents to shift, but not over millions of years, but in just a matter of months, possibly weeks. This sounds like science fiction, but one of the first people to put this idea forward was a fellow named Charles Hapgood, who proposed that around 9600 BCE, or approximately 11,600 years ago, that such an event occurred. This is a fascinating theory, not only to me, but to some very intelligent people, including Albert Einstein, who was so impressed with this theory that he actually wrote the foreword to Charles Hapgood's book. Keeping this in mind, I want you to take a quick look at this map. It's been circulating around the internet, especially in the UFO community, for quite some time. The map is actually a compilation of a bunch of older maps and was put together by a guy named Pierre Reese back in 1513. You've probably seen it on the show Ancient Aliens. And what it shows is a reasonably accurate map of the coastlines of several continents, including the coastline of Antarctica. But here's the thing. Antarctica is covered in miles of ice, and this map shows the land that's buried beneath it. At the time that these maps were originally drawn, there was no technology that should have existed that would have been able to penetrate the ice, which currently is anywhere from just a few meters all the way up to several thousand meters thick. So if they weren't able to see through the ice, then how were they able to map the coastlines? There's a few theories out there to explain this, one of which involves the ancient astronaut theory. But the one in particular that's especially fascinating to me is the idea that something caused the Earth's crust to suddenly break loose, causing a massive shift in the location of the continents. So the answer becomes pretty simple. When these original maps were created, Antarctica wasn't covered in ice because it was no longer in the location that it is today. These maps were drawn before this event occurred, which means that the ruins of a previously undiscovered civilization might be underneath the ice shelf, just waiting to be discovered. So the question we need to ask is whether or not we have any evidence of an ancient civilization buried beneath the ice. And over the last several years, we've had all sorts of unusual pictures surface of tunnels, pyramids, and other really strange objects. An event of this magnitude would have caused untold amounts of destruction on the planet. Tidal waves, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and the mass extinction of plants and animals. This could also explain why a common theme through many religions is the flood epic, which describes a worldwide flood triggered by some unknown event. So we look to geology for clues to see if such an event matches the geologic record. And oddly enough, at around 11,500 years ago, in what is known as the end of the Younger Dryas period, we see a layer of dark sediment appear across the entire world. It is commonly accepted that a meteor could have caused this event, but given what we know about the Pierre-Reese map, I think it's possible that the rapid crust displacement theory and the impact of a large meteor might be connected. After all, you wouldn't expect the crust of the Earth to break loose all by itself. There would need to be some sort of trigger or catalyst to kickstart such a massive event, and a meteor impact large enough to cover the Earth in a layer of dark sediment would definitely qualify. But what other types of things would be capable of triggering such an event? The only other plausible explanation that I can think of would be if a celestial body, such as a planet, passed close enough to the Earth as to cause a strong interaction with its gravity. Some of you may know what I'm hinting at, as Planet X has almost always been a hot topic of conversation on the internet. For the longest time, such an object has been thought to be nothing but rumor, but recently there have been quite a few articles written in mainstream science journals and reported on the news about the existence of a far-reaching planet with an elliptical orbit that only comes near the Earth every 12,000 years or so, which happens to perfectly match up with the dates of the last known cataclysm. So not only is it entirely possible that there are ancient artifacts buried beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, I think it's only a matter of time before we discover them. The thing that worries me the most is that if a theory like this turns out to be true, and these events did happen in the past, some sort of event triggered a rapid displacement of the crust. If it happened in the past, then it's probable to happen again in the future. And I don't think any of us want to be around when that day comes. Thanks for watching UFO News, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.